Sections of my live streams and in my videos, a lot of people are concerned about, a lot of people bring up, some as a joke, other people dead serious, and that is that Terence Crawford, in his very last fight against David Avanesyan, experienced what his camp called defective gloves, and what other people who are a little less friendly to the circumstance called illegal gloves. And what happened was he was in the fight with David Avanesyan, and his gloves literally started tearing and ripping apart, and padding starts coming out of the glove. He gets taken over. The referee sees it, actually finally sees it, because if you look at the pictures of when he walked into the ring, where he's standing with his hand raised with his robe on, and the robe, only time you're wearing that robe is when you're walking into the fight, or before the fight gets done. Before the fight gets started. He has the rips and the tears in his gloves. Bernie the Boxer said that the gloves had exploded or ripped in the beginning of back in the locker room before he came out. However, he didn't change the gloves and wind up knocking out David Avanesyan with a right hook, with I think it was a jab right hook combination, where he knocks him out, but he knocked him out right after. The referees are like, hold on, okay, you need to change your gloves, finish this round, and then we'll change your gloves after that. Well, he went out, knocked him out, and there was no need for him to change gloves after that. So that obviously makes people wonder, hey man, what's going on with your gloves? And boxing has been replete with examples of people using illegal gloves in fights to knock people out. And it just makes you wonder, how did you get into the ring with those gloves ripped? Why didn't you replace them? Those gloves, and this is from the testimony, not the testimony in court, but from well-established glove makers, looked at those gloves and said, look, those gloves are not new. Everlast, for his part, said, look, he got a defective batch of leather on his gloves, and they said that, I do believe, like 2 days later. Now, my question is, if you knew that quick that it was defective gloves, why didn't you know it before you gave it to him? Right? Why didn't you call and say, hey, man, we need to send you some more gloves. We've got defective gloves. And did he know about it? But anyway you cut it, he got into the ring. So questions naturally abound. Like, hey, man, has this ever happened before?
Listen, I knew this would come up. We know I haven't done a video like this in a while, but it was brought to my attention. And we know that the LDBC, or the former LDBC, should I say, at this point, we're always Team Spence. They, support Al Heyman. Al Heyman, he advises Errol Spence. Therefore, Errol Spence is supported. And Vanan is no exception. Now, for him, just breaking it down, now, to be fair, he did mention a talking topic of Errol Spence because of how he had fat nipples. Basically, that's what he was trying to say without saying it. But a lot of people question him having fat nipples or whatever, and then they equate that with, drugs and performance-enhancing, stuff. But you look at, and I always say this about anything, as long as they haven't tested dirty by any standard, I don't care. That goes for Manny Pacquiao, Anthony Joshua, Errol Spence. Why did I name those names? Because those names come up when it comes to performance-enhancing drugs. Hence, none of these guys have been tested positive or tested dirty for any of that. Okay? Now, the Glovegate of Terence Crawford, it's being brought up now. Do you know why it's being brought up now? Is because a lot of people are looking for excuses, including Fanon. See, a lot of people say, well, yeah, a lot of people have said this. Well, that's a great tactic to use. Normally, when I say that, normally, not all the time, but normally when I say there are comments that people use, I implement the comments in the video while I'm talking about the comments in the video or about whatever topic. So Fanon, he is technically savvy, right? So he is technically sound to do so if that was the case. See, I question when people say, well, hey, I've had comments. Normally, though, like I told you guys, you see that. I'm able to post that. So it's not just me saying that. But when you don't supply that type of evidence and intel to the discussion, people can say, or you can say anything that people said anything. And really, it's just you and your own opinion. See, one thing about me, if I'm going to say something or I'm going to think something, that's what it's going to be. I'm not going to say others did it or others said it, therefore I'm talking about it. No, I say it because I want to talk to my audience, you guys, about what's going on and how I think about boxing. That's why you're here anyway. You know what I mean? Primarily, you know, on top of getting boxing news every day. But you know, people want to know what I have to say. So, yeah, I don't have to hide behind what people say on some type of false witness that, hey, yeah, people are saying this. No, Fanon saying that. Fanon is talking about the fact that Terence Crawford, you know, had some defective gloves. When they found out the gloves had shredded apart, they had to be defective. You know, they sent them over. These things happen. You got to blame who made them. Wherever the hell those gloves are made, there are defects from time to time, just like cars and everything else. Shirts, pants, anything that you have to manufacture, okay? There are those defects, okay? That's all that was. And they called it quick. And he was like, well, if it was a defect, how did you know it was so? Why did it go out there? That's easy, Fanon. They didn't know. Okay? People have to come, they have to come to you with the information that they have a problem. Okay? They're not going to know. But they can see that it's a defect because more than likely it's happened before. That's why. And see, what this really means is, why are we talking about this now, something that happened earlier? We're talking about this because what could happen is if Terence Crawford knocks out Errol Spence, those things will be brought up. Trust me, it's already happened. You remember the Wilder shit, all the Glovegate, all that type of stuff. Dude, that was the worst shit show that I've ever witnessed, to be perfectly honest with you. It was the stupidest, most desperate measure to try to justify someone's loss that I've ever seen. And in the year of 2020, I lost a lot of respect for Wilder. Now, I got some back. He got some back from me. But I lost a lot of respect for Wilder because Wilder, at one point, wasn't saying anything. And then until he was. Okay, and then it's like everything, and I'm trying to defend him because I'm like, Wilder didn't say these things. Wilder didn't say anything about this. These are just certain channels that are making a shitload of money because there's no boxing going on, because we're in a pandemic and nobody's boxing. Nobody's doing anything really because everybody's scared because of what was going on. Okay, so that's what was happening. So they were making a lot of money doing it, you know, and everybody was doing what they could just to keep their channel alive because there was no boxing to support their channel. So we had to have something to talk about. I'm just disappointed because Deontay Wilder co-signed to that whole circus deal. Now we have this about Terence Crawford, a non-PBC fighter, a guy that was with Bob Arum. It sounds familiar, like Tyson Fury was and is still to this day. So, you know, he has to become the next target. Now Terence Crawford is a target. He's a target of understanding that he needs to be attacked. Okay, he needs a reason why he did something to the fighter that they support. That's all this is, people. They are just looking for reasons to attack Terence Crawford because if he beats Errol Spence, especially due to a knockout, people are going to start. And if Errol Spence is less than a man or can't accept that loss, he's going to jump on that bandwagon just like Deontay Wilder did. And I'm just here to tell you guys that this stuff is going to happen. It's going to happen because Terence Crawford, I feel, will stop Errol Spence at some point. They will attack the gloves. And God forbid there's something. And then see, they don't even have to be anything wrong with the gloves that night, because nothing was wrong with Tyson Fury's gloves. Okay, that night, they went back other times. So they were like, well, if he had problems other times, if he cheated then, he could cheat at that time where he beat Deontay Wilder. So the argument can be brought up. And if you have any kind of bias, any racist bone in your body of not wanting to see certain fighters make it, you're going to follow on with that bandwagon. That's why I think it's dumber people. I think the smarter people are not outweighing the dumber ones. Okay, the ones that don't really have sense. I think it's a lot more people that are stupid than they are intelligent. That's the sad thing about this whole situation. But when Terence Crawford beats him, this is just to let people know of what's to come. If Errol Spence falls to Terence Crawford, he will be attacked by his gloves based on something that had nothing to do with the night that he stopped Errol Spence. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of this counterpunch concerning Fanon Terence Crawford with a newfound Glovegate plot. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.